I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're speaking with Darlene Forbes. She is a seasoned wedding coordinator hailing from beautiful Napa, California. And she is offering a glimpse into the multifaceted world of weddings in her book called Weddings, the Good, the Bad, and the Scary. With 3.5 decades of unique and vivid experiences, she narrates true stories of joy, chaos, fear, and of course, love, reflecting on a career that you would absolutely embark upon again. We are delighted to have this very talented writer and creator on our show today. We thank the folks at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel. Darlene, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me.
Loved your book. I think it's an important guide, an important read for anyone who's going to get married or going through it. Actually, whether it's the bride and the groom or even the bride's family or whoever is involved in putting together the big day, the day that people say is the biggest day of their lives or the most important day of their lives. That must be quite an honor to be involved in so many people's big day, don't you think?
You know, it really is. But there's things that you should do and shouldn't do, and the book is full of all of them. I've seen it all. Some I've seen too much of that I'd rather not see again. But it's, it is what it is, and we have fun with it most of the time.
I'm sure. What is one great bit of advice you would give to anybody who's about to start planning their wedding?
Hire a professional. Do not bring in your cousin as the DJ. Do not let your mother make the cake. Your sister should not do the flowers, because we have seen cakes covered in dog fur. We've had them hit the floor, the flowers being a mess. And, you're not paying them, so they don't have to do the job if they don't want to. They can start it and then say, Mom, I'm done. Too much work. Right. So do not do that. Hire a professional.
Leave it to the professionals. And what if you want to make the wedding have more of your personality? Maybe that's why people are hiring their brother or sister to bake the cake. I guess there are better ways to do that than putting those important tasks on them, right?
Well, exactly. Tell us what you want, and we will do whatever idea that you have. We'll bring it to fruition. But again, it's hard. I can't yell, as I tell the bride, I can't yell at your mother if the cake looks terrible. But I can at a professional baker. If it's wrong, come back and fix it. So
right.
We really want to have the best day possible for you. And if something goes wrong, you're not going to know about it. We're going to deal with it behind the scenes.
Absolutely. How does it work working with a wedding coordinator? I know a lot of people, I've been married about 7 times. No, I'm teasing.
Sorry. Okay.
Been married twice. But both times, pretty much we just went to the catering place and they helped us plan everything. You're one step above that. You would be in charge of it all. Tell us about the role of a wedding coordinator instead of just simply going to a venue and having them help you pick out the DJ and the photographer and all that.
Well, a lot of our couples come from all over, from Europe, from Asia. So they may not get a chance to even come over here and pick their vendors. So we'll help them with a vendor list, guide them through the DJ, the musicians, the caterers, the photographer, and the venue. And then we pull it all together. So I contact all the vendors, put together a detailed timeline of how the day is going to unfold, and then oversee everything. So rather than the caterer can't be in charge of everything because they're getting the meal out, but I can. So I can watch everyone. Now we're going to do our first dance. Now we're going to cut the cake, etc. So we really oversee everything and put everything together. So you don't have to, the bride doesn't have to do anything. We have a big one this weekend where we are literally done everything. We've planned the rehearsal dinner, the brunch the day after, and all of the details for the wedding, including steaming the wedding gown that's hanging in this bathroom behind me. Wonderful. So we literally do it all.
You've been doing this for about 36 years or so. Is there one wedding that really stands out? Like, I don't know, you might have done it on Big Sur or something, or a truly memorable big day that you're like, wow, that was something else.
There's been a lot of wows. There could be good wows or bad wows. I've had, I have literally been picked up and thrown in a swimming pool. by the bride's dad. It was an estate wedding. It was a hot day in August. He thought it would be fun, and he just ran, picked me up, and jumped into the pool with me. And I had to do the wedding soaking wet. I had about a year ago, the one of the groomsmen literally went out on the dance floor during the first dance and urinated on the floor in front of the photographer and all the guests. So we had to kind of take him aside and put him in a table for the rest of the night with a babysitter, another person to watch him. I've done some hot air balloon weddings, literally, where it was just the bride, the groom, the pilot, and myself, 30,000 feet above or whatever, 3,000 feet above the ground. So, I mean, I've done celebrities, professional ball players. You can't, the guys are so tall. Good night. The basketball players are so big, you can't reach them.
Yeah.
Been picked up by football players. There's been so many wonderful ones and so many tragic ones.
Right. That's wonderful. Wonderful to hear all those stories. I can't believe the guy urinating on the dance floor. That is crazy. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard of.
The photographer was like, "Oh my God."
He's like, "Do I shoot it?"
To clean it up afterwards. He came to the wedding well lubricated, and I don't think he was aware of where he was, but the groom was mortified.
Amazing. Why did you write this book?
Well, it was during COVID, and you can only clean so much.
Yeah.
So I got bored and I thought, I'll just sit down and put together all the notes that I've taken over the years. And then when I got into it, it just kind of flowed and I had a great time, and it filled up a year, and I wrote several more books during that time.
Absolutely. And the book is an important guide for brides, people planning a wedding. Like I said, maybe the mother of the bride who's helping plan the wedding. This will be kind of like you said, the good, the bad, the scary, what to avoid, what to emphasize. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it is helpful hints. It's what not to do and what to do and how to do it. And it really tells you, just different stories. Do not compete with the bride. Try to be understanding, and also to the brides not to be so self-entitled, so self-indulgent that day, to be, kind to everyone too, because sometimes you just see the worst side of her. But then I have some brides that are so kind and so loving. It's more, they're worried about everybody else. So, I mean, there's a big difference between, I guess, the brides, and everyone's individual. And I think you just have to show the kindness, be firm, but kind.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big day, and there is a lot of stress, tempers flare. The couples are often young. There's also stuff going on often behind the scenes that you're not privy to as to why things are extremely tense that day. So it can be a lot to balance and juggle, I'd imagine.
Well, we had one where the flower girl lost the ring before. And of course, we couldn't tell the bride the ring was gone. So we just kind of made up a story, it's being polished. We'll get it to you later, something in the, I mean, just the craziness. We've had the zippers go out in the dress where my husband literally sewed them back in. I don't sew, but he does. I mean, you just deal with it. And now I don't think anything could surprise me anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. You watch The Wedding Singer, and you've obviously watched that with Adam Sandler. It's kind of a classic movie. And you've got the toast where the guy goes wrong and the brother says nasty things to say about the groom. But I think some of your stories are topping it all. I think they should have consulted with you before they made that movie.
Well, and it's true with toasts, we give the mic to the people that have been chosen for the bride and groom. We never give it to anyone else. If somebody asks to have the mic to make a toast, we absolutely will not let them, because horrible things can happen.
You never know what's going to happen when you give somebody a hot mic. You might regret it. You've had other careers during your life. You were a dress shop owner, I understand, and an accountant.
We sold bridal gowns.
Yes. Yeah. So that kind of all naturally flowed into being a wedding consultant, right?
Well, it did. I was an accountant for years when I started the business, so that helped the brides put a budget together. And then it just kind of evolved. I really did not know what I was doing in the beginning, and I literally learned as I went, and I faked it till I made it. I catered in the beginning too. If the brides couldn't afford, a caterer, I did a little catering on the side. It was, nothing fancy, just,
Hmm.
more buffet style, but it was fun. I
Yeah.
did balloon decor. I mean, whatever it took to make it happen is what I did.
Wonderful, wonderful. Before we leave you today, give me one more great bit of advice you want to give a bride who's planning their wedding.
Well, start early if you can. Listen to professionals. You don't know it all, even though they try. And be patient, be kind, and think about others. Do not invite more guests than you can comfortably handle. If you can't afford to feed them, don't invite them.
Right. Exactly, exactly. And hire a wedding coordinator. It'll take a lot of stress off you. Is this something only for the rich, though? Is it somewhat affordable to
No,
hire a wedding?
absolutely not. We've
How's
done
it
some
work?
very low budget weddings in country and barns, just everywhere.
Yeah.
Tell me your budget in the beginning and we'll work with it. We'll make it happen. I certainly have vendors that will come in and help at a reasonable price.
Right.
So it's certainly not for the wealthy, it's for everyone.
And you might actually know secret or hidden venues that other people might not realize that are
Right.
very affordable, like a beautiful seascape or a beautiful park or something like that. That'd
And
be
we can
lovely.
save money by helping guide in that direction. We've done weddings in parks and hot air balloons and barns and the cliffs of Muir Woods. I mean,
Right.
just it doesn't matter. We can
Sounds
certainly help
wonderful.
them.
Exactly, exactly. One of the best weddings I ever went to was at a campsite on a lake in upstate New York. And a lot of the bars were built out of trees, and it was really wonderful and magical. And the couple sped off at the end in a motorboat across the lake. It was very, very nice. They got married on a pier. So there's all different ways to do a wedding, from castles to lakefronts to campsites. And I got a feeling you've done them all. So
Right. And dessert can be s'mores, it doesn't
yeah.
have to be fancy.
Exactly. That sounds great. That sounds great. How do folks get in touch with you if they'd like you to plan their wedding?
I have a website, weddingsbydarlene.net.
Mhm.
My books are under Darlene J. Forbes, and they're on Amazon, Kindle,
All the
Barnes
platforms.
and Noble. Just
Yep.
go on the internet. I'm out there. Or
Absolutely.
call me.
Absolutely. It sounds great. The name of this book is Weddings, the Good, the Bad, and the Scary. And we've heard all three of those today: the great weddings, the bad weddings, and that guest you want to keep off of the dance floor.
Oh my
Darlene,
God.
thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure is all mine. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.
Thank you.
Thank you.